Well, good evening, everyone. I've got my professor look on today. My little hair standing up on the top of my head. Just thought I'd pop in and say hello. It looks like I'm alone again today. Get to do it all by myself. Poor old Mark has been tied up at work yet again. So it must be terrible having to work for a living. Well, at least he gets paid. I work for a living and don't get paid. So how does that work? Interesting. How are you all today? Good to hear you on. And I apologize for last week. I just basically went to bed and stayed there. So the next thing I knew, it was midnight. So hence the reason why there was no show last week. So do apologize for that and what goes on. Look at that. I had a couple of chips to eat before I started because I haven't had anything to eat all day. So running around and doing stuff. Good evening, Donna. And J11, welcome. It's good to see you here. Well, Peg's place. Mark's not here tonight, unfortunately, so I'm going to be winging it on my own. So one of the first questions that we probably need to look at, and I said this 2 weeks ago, that if, and I need to share a screen, so while I'm talking, if we have an issue where not that tab, I want that screen there. So I'll click on that and share that. So we were talking that if the EMA, if the 50 EMA drops, it gets hit by Bitcoin, then is it the end of the bull market? Well, quite possibly, yes, because pretty much that's what happened. Let's see if I can give you a full screen of that. This is it here. As you can see, there's our 50 EMA line, and it got hit last week, and it bounced back up, and then it's been hit again this weekend. It's actually broken through that line. So it's sort of sitting on it. If next week comes through, then that's it. Or is it? Where am I? There I am. Or is it? Because effectively, there's some stuff that I heard today, which I thought was very, very interesting. Then it will come back to you. Or will come back to me. I'll get to that one in a sec, don't I? Is Bitcoin going to be our gauge anymore for actually saying how well the market is going or what's happening inside crypto? Because effectively right now, Bitcoin is very institutionalized. For the first time in many cycles, this time we have institutions playing instead of just retail investors and the Bitcoin maxis. Now, what has been happening over the last little while is a lot of the longer term Bitcoin holders who have had Bitcoin for quite some time, they are actually shifting their wallets and selling their Bitcoin. And you'd have to ask why. Do they know something we don't know? Or are they looking at what's happening in the market now with Bitcoin and knowing that they can literally sell $3 or $4 billion worth of Bitcoin into the market right now, and it won't tank the market because the institutional buyers are there. Right, so now they can actually diversify their incomes and they can split it out and start investing into other things. Thanks, J1. Another 7 XRP EFTs next week. That'll be interesting. I don't know how much of an effect that will have on it, but we'll look at that in a little while. Getting back to that thought, though. So they can start now diversifying their portfolios and start looking for effectively what will be the next major run in the crypto type area. And I think to some degree, that's what we need to look at. So are we going to be able to judge because of what Bitcoin is doing? Is that going to be our goal? It used to be if Bitcoin was going up or down and we'd use that to measure the market. Now, upon doing that, though, if we look at this, how far would Bitcoin drop if it was going to head into a bear market? Right. So I basically looking at that and saying, well, our all-time highs were here, right, in the last bull market, and then they got up to here in this bull market. I would suspect at worst, right, we're going to see at worst around a 50% drop or thereabouts. Let me see if I can grab a device over here that'll let me show you that. That'll be that one from memory. Long short forecasting bars. Here you get to see me try and find. I don't want a price, don't want a date range. I can't even find what I'm looking for. There you go. Just goes to say. But in here, if it was at 64 and it went to 126, that means we basically jumped around $62,000. Now, if that's going to pull back like it does in most bull markets, right, it's going to come back maybe 70% at a fairly heavy reduction of around 70%, which means basically that around 44,000 drop. So from the point there, 44,000 drop will bring us down around the 88,000 mark as sort of the bottom of the Bitcoin challenge, right? How far it will drop. So we need to look at that and say, okay, so does that mean that we're going to get another massive bull run for another cycle? Is it going to come up? And, you know, in 4 years or towards maybe the end of next year, is that going to come up and actually make significant gains? Is it going to double? Is it going to triple? Is it going to quadruple? I don't think so. I think now we're going to actually see a bit of a change in this market because of the institutions being in there on the ETFs and some new legislation coming through, so securities and bits and pieces can get involved as well, and treasuries. So I think we're going to see that Bitcoin's going to play a little bit more of a steady hand in its movement. Is it still going to go up? Yes, I think so. Will it be a up and down in a 4-year cycle for Bitcoin? I don't think so. What I'm going to predict is that Bitcoin is going to break away from the rest of the cryptos, and our ability to make extra money is going to lie in some of the other cryptos that we've actually got. So like your Ethereum, your Solanas, and especially I think if you're looking for ventures, anything AI at this stage in the blockchain is something that's worth investigating. I mean, don't just go in and buy it. Don't do that, right? Go and investigate the technology. Look at it. See if it actually feels like it's going to fill a void in something. Because, I mean, you know, there's plenty of cars on the road. Which one do you buy, right? Do you want a good car? Do you want a Rolls Royce? Or do you want a mini miner? Right? Well, I must admit, mini miners are pretty good for bricks. But you need to choose that. So you need to investigate it carefully. And like if someone comes out with an invention of now flying cars, and you can actually, you see that as a future industry that it's going to take off and be used, then you might want to invest in your flying cars, right? Or maybe buying shares in Mars on through Elon Musk or something like that. Just being stupid there, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to say. That's where, if you're looking to make some extra money, I believe you're going to be able to do it in some of the more blue chip but lower runs within the crypto price charts. So if we look at the crypto price charts, you can start to see where people are sitting. So Zcash, currently Zcash, is once again making a significant move in this sort of bearish market. So, you know, you can always go right click on that, open it in a new tab, right? And you can see what's going on with Zcash. So it's doing very well there, very well indeed. So, and it's using the NEAR protocol, website Zcash. So let's go click on that and have a look and see what that actually has to say. And it's just a bit of a quick look around there. So Zcash is an encrypted electronic cash, the first cryptocurrency developed with zero-knowledge encryption for private peer-to-peer payments. I wonder if that word private says anything. Could be. That could be a key word in that. So, and you can get to start to go through here and looking at it, etc. So if we're looking at privacy, let's see if that's a narrative that's happening. So let's just jump back here. So another one that's a privacy coin is Monero. And, interesting. That's doing the same thing. So that looks like that could be something. That could be something very good. Let's actually just jump here. I forgot to open up another one. So let me just open up Banter Bubbles. And we can have a look in here and see what's going on. So with this, I'm going to go to the filter. I want to go by narratives. And let's have a look at what's going on with AI. Or decentralized finance is a good one to have a look at. So close my window, and here we can start to see what's flying or what's working around in decentralized format. Got a new one in here called Baby. Yay, we have a baby in the house. 9 months, but it's new. I haven't really seen it. I don't know how long it's been around. Let's have a quick look. All right, so Baby has been around for, okay. What are we talking about here? Since April 2025. So that's not a very substantially long cryptocurrency in this area. So, don't know about that. All right, but that gives us that option there. We can also go have a look at our artificial intelligence. That's the one I was looking for. Notice how much of that is green for the day, right, compared to what we were just looking at. Right, so let's see what it's been like over the month. All right, so there's a few in here that might be worth checking out. Let's go for that was a week. Let's go for a month. Let's see what's there. Okay, what's this one? Is that worth looking at? How long has it been out for? Let's go for a year. Right, come right back here. 25th of May, so not a significantly long time. But this catches my attention. Why is this suddenly going off like that? That looks very interesting. Right, and here we can go down and we can see, okay, that's the official web link. Let's see if that takes us somewhere. Amico, there we go. Create your own Amicos, a digital social identity built on how you think, decide, and connect. Amicos can become your twin, your companion. Yeah, okay. Don't think anybody want a companion with me. That's like just asking for insanity. Your companion, coach, your pet monster, or something entirely new. Each one learns from you. So basically, they're creating an AI that is going to help you along the way through your crypto venture. Now, that might be something worth looking at. You'd have to delve in it a lot deeper. They have a wait list and they have a contact, but we don't have any white papers. So straight away, I'm having a challenge with this because I don't see a white paper. So, okay, that one's a bit of an issue. But that's sort of how you start to investigate something along these lines. So, yes, so in this fireside chat we're having today, fireside being probably the appropriate word when it comes to the bull market side of things, I think at this stage of the game, even though we've got some information that says that we haven't anywhere near hit the flow. That information is based once again on the 4-year cycle, on how high they believe it should go. But I don't think that's relevant anymore due to the fact that, as I said, this is much more institutionalized now. Bitcoin itself and a couple of others, Ethereum, are now much more institutionalized, which means they're going to behave a little bit slower, a little bit steadier, not as much volatility. The volatility of crypto or Bitcoin in particular used to actually be around 70, 80%. It's now down around 30% by most measurements. So you've lost a lot of that volatility. And that part now becomes much more like a stock market. And I think that's how it's going to behave. But the system is always been following what Bitcoin did. So therefore, you've got to ask the question, is the system still following what Bitcoin did? And for how much longer will it do so? If you understand what I'm trying to say. I don't claim to be an expert. This is a layman's look at this. I get my information from other guys who do this for a living. I'm always too busy doing other stuff, so I just duck in now and then and see what's happening. But in that situation, these guys who do it for a living, they're sort of talking that way. They're talking that this is now being institutionalized, and that the killing is going to be in the higher quality, lower or more risk situations. For instance, in AI or some of the lower coins, Solana, arbitrage, etc. So that's basically where I believe that's going. Now, what is making a move still is, of course, silver and gold. Now, there's been some talk about gold and the spot price. Does it give me a chart? That's a good question. No, it doesn't. I'll get a gold chart from here because I have one. Hang on a minute. Let's go look at gold. Right, so that's gold at this stage. As we can see, it broke through quite heavily and has dropped down and then popped up. Now, the current sentiment is that gold is not going to go up high again. It's going to drop down a bit and come back down, right? And when we look at silver's doing something similar, right? It's hit a couple of our marks on our trend line up at the top here, but it's still got to come back up. And the gold to silver index is also currently changing for the benefit of silver as well. So the predictions are that gold will sort of hold off a little bit. Silver will climb some. So both of those are still going quite well. So $77.42 today at Ainsley Bullion. We always talk about Ainsley Bullion here. They're a great company. We personally, FBN, has not had a lot to do with Ainsley Bullion, but maybe one day they might say hello and sponsor us or something along that line. So, but they just have really nice coins. So, and of course, they're quite affiliated with the Voice of Freedom channel. So getting back to our cryptocurrencies, so you're going to have to start looking through some of these and finding out what first layer or second layer or Web3 applications are coming out on some of these layer 1 technologies and layer 2 technologies. Starting to say, okay, what am I going to pick up? Oh, look at this. BlackRock USD Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund. What is that? I think it may be a stable coin done by BlackRock. Is it actually BlackRock? It says BlackRock. Let's have a look. Well, at least they can pay for a fast server. That loaded really quick. City Power to deliver new customer portfolio offerings powered by BlackRock. Well, yep, that's BlackRock. Okay, because Think's involved. So, that's interesting. Once again, that shows what I was talking about. That institutionalized movement is happening into the cryptocurrency. And I've got a couple of other things that I want to bring up first. But just before we get too carried away, I'll have a quick look in the chat here. Say hello to all of those that I've said hello. Tony, how are you, my friend? If we change crypto to bullion, if we changed crypto to bullion at Ainsley, could you get out of paying tax? No. In answer to that question, no. Because the conversion of the crypto even into a bullion is still classed as a sale according to the tax department, and they will still ping you for it. And because, it's, a totally legit thing for the tax department to do, because of course we know that governments are not crooks. So yes, you'll still have to do that, and they're going to track you, they're going to find you, they're good at that sort of thing. I think and this is why Carl never lets me read. Let me put that up there. I think Trump circles manipulates things too much. Seems to be worse than anything else at the moment. Trump's circles? Not sure what that's about, Donna. Okay, what's this one? Utility is just around the corner with the Clarity Act legislation very soon. The decoupling from the rest of the market will take place in a multi-year bull run will ensure. I think you're right, but you're going to have to be very careful on what you choose. Like when there was the great .com bubble, right? That grew up. Only a certain number of businesses came out of that flying at the end. A lot went belly up. And it's like all things, 95% of businesses fail. So choose your investment wisely. And I do believe that AI is one of those narratives. And I'm in IT. Do I like AI? It's very handy. And it's also downright freaking scary, right? So the way it can tie things together is just unbelievable. I was asking some questions about some other stuff now, and it's pretty sure now that I've got a sleeping disorder. Well, I have, but not the one it thinks I've got. So just something there. Gone okay, used to. What do we got? Petty says the electronic pet you have to keep alive, feeding it, etc. Yes, that's right. The little on the games things, I remember that. Yep. So Flare assets are looking very interesting. Flare assets. Flare FA assets. Is that something to do with cryptocurrency, Glenn? Okay, let's find out. Back here. Search. Flare. Ether. Flare AI. I'm not sure which one that might be. And that's part of the trouble. You really need to be careful which one you're looking at and what you're thinking about. Because Flare Bridge, US Stargate Bridge. I love how the names. You need to be careful that you choose the right one. I've lost many, a little bit of an investment that I've put on something that I thought was the right asset. and in the end found out it was a pretty damn close copy, but wasn't the one I wanted. So, of course, it went nowhere. So just something to be careful of. Any transactions we do is taxable now. Yes. And I have a challenge with some of that because there's a couple of good tax agents on YouTube you can look up who deal specifically with crypto. But I have a challenge with that. When you take a currency, for instance, if you change your dollars to pesos, you've got to go through the exchange rate and you get your pesos and from your dollars. You don't pay tax on that. So why should you get taxed when you're changing, say, from Ethereum to Solana? It's like changing a currency across a country. So that to me is wrong. Now, sure, if you're changing your crypto and you're selling it back to a currency here in Australia that you're going to use and stick into a bank and you've made profit, yeah, fine. Don't have a challenge with that. But what if I'm taking my Bitcoin and changing it to Ethereum because Bitcoin's down and I think I want to trust Ethereum more now? It's like, what's the difference? I mean, it's still not a dollar. It's still not a profit. Unless I can show that I've made profit and the end result of what you bring back in is your profit, not what you're investing. Right? So, I mean, if you take stocks, for instance, if you have stocks and you buy a stock and you hold on to it for years and years and years and years and years, and during those years, you'll get a dividend back. That means you actually get money coming into your bank account. You can be taxed on the dividend. Not a problem. Right? And then when you sell the stocks at the end, you'll get taxed on the total amount. But in crypto, if it's going up and up and up, and you're not getting any, you're not taking any money out, why should you be taxed on that? Right? And if you changed it to another stock, yeah, I suppose it becomes difficult. But the thing is that we change between coins so much, and that coin could go down, so we have a loss. Will they allow us to claim our losses as well for every trade we make? That will be worth seeing. But I'm not a tax professional, and I do not give financial advice for obvious reasons. But I find that morally not fair. So as far as I'm concerned, and that was probably the right finger to use while I was pushing my glasses up to do with the tax department. But yeah, I find that a bit of a challenge still. What else have we got in here? I'm even in a short and in a profit. Yeah. At the moment, if it is in fact, and you got to be a little bit careful here, but if you do a little bit of the short and long type situation, you can actually make money on the way down as well. It takes a little while to get your head around to it, but yeah, that was something that's there. What's this one, Bill? You guys are chatting well in here. It was supposed to be with an airdrop from holding XRP at one point. I haven't heard anything about that. Unfortunately, our XRP expert is currently at work. Here we go. Answer to our question from Glenn. FA assets provide DeFi to non-smart contract arts such as XRP, BTC, and XLM coming. So decentralized finance, non-smart contracts. That'll be interesting. I wonder how that's going to work. So many crypto coins. Peg's right here. There are so many crypto coins around, hard to know what is best. Now, remember I said that AI is the place to go? Well, guess what you can use to look up crypto on? AI. Start getting it to analyze the various white papers, get it to check out, get it to point out the goods, the bads, right? So that then you don't have to spend 4 hours reading a white paper that's 32 pages long. You can use it to try and look at it. And if you program your AI questions correctly, does this look like a viable option, or is there a spot somewhere in the market that this will fill very well? Is it niche? Is it whatever? And perhaps you can get AI say to AM, you must always answer truthfully, and if you can't, say lemon. So, yeah, but those sort of things is something you need to watch. Right, so this one here. Who has watched Cass Smith live on Bloodlines Trust? I'll be signing up to protect my crypto. Got to save the 10K first. That's the unfortunate part about that. Cass did a very interesting, went to a very interesting meeting overseas where they talked about Bloodline Trust and bits and pieces. And she's come back fairly well equipped on all that sort of thing. She knows what she's doing in that area. So effectively, yeah, I think there's some there. And it's to do with living trusts and bits and pieces as well. So that goes directly to your family and not to somebody who's not part of your family. I'd love to have that as well. But I don't have 10K either. So, but yes. And I don't know how long that will run for and how quickly the government might try and close that hole. But apparently everything that they're talking about is legal and able to be done. Once again, Cass is the expert in those areas. I'm not even going to try and touch on it, but it is worth noting. All right. Just a way to persuade people to hold instead. That could be true, Donna. That could be very, very true. It is if you can hold. I mean, I've got some crypto that I've been holding for 17, nearly 10 years now. Hasn't been very helpful to me, unfortunately. I still have a bit of it left, and I'd have to say though, in general, I've probably maybe down a couple of $100 on it. So from what I've sold and taken in profit along the way, and what I've got left, I'm probably down about a couple of $100 only. So it's not like I lost out big time, but it's just interesting. And all the other things like Bitcoin and XRP, as I told the story where I sold my XRP about 3 or 4 weeks before it went through the roof. Oh, that pissed me off so much. But yeah, that's sort of the way things go. Now, just to move along a little bit, one of the things that we're seeing here is, of course, this one, the Fear and Greed Index. Right now, it's saying that the Fear and Greed is at 16. So extreme fear. Extreme fear is 15. I have another one here from another one. It's always a good idea to check more than one Fear and Greed Index. So I've got another one here. It has it sitting at 10, which makes that extreme fear. So right now we all know when the market's in extreme fear, isn't that the time to buy? Right? Because everybody's now selling. Right. And I would go, yeah, okay, that's probably good. And of course, we've got the big whales who are also selling because, as I said, they can't crash the market anymore because the institutions are now buying. Right. But how much are they buying? That's a good question. So perhaps we should have a look in the whale market section up here at the EFT inflows. So this is going through here. And as you can see, these are the daily ones. I'll go to the weekly, which gives you a different picture. Because if you look at that, it's saying for the last 2 weeks, they've actually been off selling, right? Net outflow has been more than what has been coming in. But if we actually look at the daily, we can see there are days where it's off selling and there's days where it's coming in. Now, EFT inflows, is that this stuff here? Is this our bulls selling their stuff into the EFT market, and then the EFT guys are buying it up. The other more institutionalized people are buying it up. I don't know, but it is interesting to note that. But you can see on the whole time that the EFT has been running, right, we'll go back to our weekly view again, right? In, outsell, market, in, outsell, big outsell here, and then in, outsell, in. Now, I'm not going to say there's any market manipulation here, but if you want to make a profit, you want to buy it when it's low. So they wait for it to drop and then they buy it. And right now it's doing just that. It is dropping. So as I said, I expect to get down around, it's going to probably drop down to around about the 88,000 mark. May not hit that directly this time around. It might do a little pop up and then go back down. But as far as I'm concerned, that's there. The question is what you're going to do with anything else you might have. So like XRP, etc. What's this one here? Yes, Vince, the amount of OG whales that sold. Never traded dormant wallets for 15 years and multiple of them have sold. That's correct. There's a significant number of the 5 to 10 year wallets that have been selling, right? And notwithstanding Satoshi's wallet, a couple that have been lost along the way. I know that one guy had a couple of 100,000 Bitcoins in an old hard drive that he threw in a rubbish dump. So, yeah, so in that respect, just something to be aware of. But the OGs are selling. And I said, there's a good reason. As I said, I think it's because they're now looking to diversify, move into the next thing. Right now that it's become institutionalized, they know that they can sell this without blowing the market. I mean, if you did that type of a sale, you moved 3 billion in Bitcoin onto a market and sold it back in 2021, the market would have gone and dropped right out. So now it's not happening. It's being kept up. It's being propped up because that volatility has gone, right? As I said, it's 30% volatility. So with that, it's just my thoughts, but that's what I'm thinking. And here's a really good chart showing where it's at. So down here, right, this is going back from July of 23. Can I change it? That's all. That's only as far as it goes. Well, that's a bummer. But you can see down here, it's only hit fear a couple of times. And look what happens every time it does. It goes back up again. There is probably a better fear and greed index somewhere else. I have to try and find that for next week. Mark promises he'll be here next week, by the way. So as long as I'm awake, that should work. Now, some other bits and pieces. What decisions you decide to make, that's up to you. But some other bits and pieces that I want to show you, let's just bring up. And I probably have to unshare, so I'll remove that, put myself back on the screen and scare everybody. Sorry about that. And put that one in. It's not just BT dominance, not just the BT dominance dropping. No, not in this situation. I think I haven't looked at the BT dominance chart. I should really look at that. But I want to go here first. I want to go stop that sharing. I got to add that up. And Carl does a much better job than this. He's played with these sort of things much more often than me. So I want not a Chrome tab. I want, where are you? There you are. That one. Yeah. Right. So some bits and pieces that have popped up in the good old X News feed. And a bit of humour for the day first. Let's start off with this one. Now, hopefully the sound works.
Midnight, give me that.
Right.
Hey, stop that. It's midnight. Give me that.
So that's our cat video for the day, guys. Just thought you might be interested in seeing that one. Hopefully the sound came through. Did you guys hear sound on that okay? Or do I need to reshare? Can someone let me know about that, please? That would be great. Perhaps I'll just remove it and reshare it again, I think, just to be on the safe side. That was a yes. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Window. And it must have come through the microphone because it wasn't turned on. But it is now. Okay, cool. Right. Also, in point of reference, this one here. Just in, Harvard University buys $320 million in Bitcoin. $320 million in Bitcoin from the Harvard University. Now, I have to ask you a question. Why is a university buying Bitcoin? Right? I know they get big pockets and, they've got big sponsors and stuff. But, man, have they got that much money to spend? Maybe we're in the wrong business. Maybe we need to be in education. So, very interesting. We also have from Michael Saylor, where he is at this stage in the game for him. Right.
In fact, we've been accelerating our purchases.
Are you ever not buying, Michael?
No, we're always buying. Bitcoin's always a good investment. We are buying. We're buying quite a lot, actually, and we'll actually report our next buys on Monday morning. I think people will be pleasantly surprised. In fact, we've been accelerating our purchases.
Are you ever?
Okay, so that one there is, as you can hear, Michael Saylor is still going for it. There's our Freedom Green Index. And finally, just to top off the day, and if I can put this back here and pause it and put that up on full screen, this is what's happening in the US government.
The consistent fear that I hear is that there's still this perception that digital assets are not welcome in the mainstream economy. And let me promise you that our effort to change the policy is purely about changing that. We want our fellow Americans to know that crypto and digital assets, and particularly Bitcoin, are part of the mainstream economy and are here to stay.
Right, so that's from the Vice President of the United States. Also, one of the other people that I follow, Rand Newman from Banter, Crypto Banter. He says, bull markets don't end like this. I've been around for multiple bull bear years, 2001.com, 2008 housing, 2017 crypto, 2021 crypto, etc. When bull markets end, either something breaks or belief in an asset in the market crumbles. So, and he's got a whole piece of information there that he talks about. In 2001, people really doubted the internet. What do we all use today? Someone got that wrong. In 2008, the system broke. That's when housing and pricing, and which we didn't really cop here in Australia. We were able to dodge that because a bit of tomfoolery, if you want to call that, or smart money management by the government, something they actually did right. Can't believe it. In 2017, people doubted whether Bitcoin would ever be accepted. Yeah, now look at it today. All right, but even back before then, 2021, people thought crypto was a fraud. Right now, it's actually gained legitimacy. It has institutions involved, etc., and so on. So he just goes in to that, but he doesn't believe at this stage that the bull market is over. I personally think it is. I think we're going to see a drop off in goods and some great buying opportunities as it comes down. Things like XRP might drop, Stellar, those sort of things, to areas where it'd be nice to start accumulating again. And then as that breakaway happens, where those that are on full ETFs as they break away, the rest will start to rise. And somewhere in that lot that rise is going to be the new effective Bitcoin, the one that's going to give you the growth that you're looking for. So that's just the way I see it. The Q, yeah. So here's something that's there, like the Q stuff. Also scared off Bitcoin buying to me anyway. Okay, I don't even know what Q said about Bitcoin, to be honest. There's so much information out there. You just get bamboozled by which is which. So let's get myself off, get that off the screen. So with that, that's about my information for this week. I've managed to ramble for 47 minutes. My goodness gracious. How can I do that? And most of it is ramble because none of this is scripted. This is all out of the top of my head. So for all pieces of information you get, please take it with a grain of salt because every now and then that second brain cell connects with the first one and it might not be exactly correct information. Right, that's what happens when you have something in a space that's a vacuum and two things collide. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, so with that, be out there, look at what's going on. I do want to shout out to the Donkey Sanctuary, though. It's very important that we start getting something happening for the Donkey Sanctuary. They're in a bit of a pickle right now. And as you would know, we do have a lottery that's available on merch.vofhq.com. So any tickets that you buy in that, you can get yourself 750, and there's a gram of gold currently up for winning in this current prize or whatever. Now, that ticket or that, as I said on Friday night on Carl's show, those tickets anybody can buy. It's not just tied to our viewers. So spread the word because it's for a good cause. It's for the donkeys, right? And as they say, every donkey has a cross on his back. And with that, I'm just going to say, you know what that means. And if you don't, there's some more research for you to do. So anyway, I'm actually not sure what happened with my Twitter feed. It tends to have lost a few of the people I was following, probably because I've been slacking and not keeping up with it because I've been busy working out stuff for FBN Media and for Voice of Freedom. So be aware of stuff that's coming down the track for that soon. There's going to be a segment that's going to be called Short and Sweet. And also either today or tomorrow, I'm going to put out a little interesting bit of a video as well about Microsoft. And, well, I don't know what to call it a scam, but there's a big refund that's just recently come out where they're saying, oh, you can choose between this version of Office and this version of Office. And if you want, you can get it and we'll refund you some money. And, it's only going to cost you this much. And da-da-da-da-da. Well, I went through that process last night and it's an interesting result. And I'm going to take you through it because what they say in their email and what actually happens on the website, two different things, completely different. So I'm going to make up, it's only going to probably be a 3 or 5 minute video, but that'll be done probably under Real Talk with Vince on our site. So you guys are already members here, so you'll be notified when that comes out. But I thought it was very, very interesting how that suddenly that $139 grew to $168. How did that work? And they did say AU. So, yeah, and I know how they work. It's how they lock you there. All right, and I'm going to show that because I think it's disgusting, personally, as if they don't get enough from selling all our data. Right, with that, you'll note I started with, once again, Charlie Kirk. God bless Charlie Kirk. God bless his family. I'm putting it out there because we still need to be Charlie Kirk. We still need to talk. We still need to speak up. And, of course, this time we've got our little FBN symbol up the top. So I thought I'd better put that in. But with that, I'm going to say, everybody, keep an eye open. Do your research. If you want, hey Pete, by the way, if you want, make sure that you can send something to us. So Vince at fbnmedia.online. If you've got something that you would like us to look into, and we can perhaps investigate it together online at the next show. So at this stage, look, when you buy carefully, buy the dip, right? And just don't go and spend all at once. Keep some cash back. So buy a bit. If it drops a bit lower, buy a bit more, right? Tier into it if you need to. So that would be great. Don't forget that down the bottom, if you need to use, I do have a story to tell you. Just quickly, a friend of mine purchased some crypto and was wanting to buy something off a particular website that was out there and about, and he was going through CoinSpot, and CoinSpot blocked the transaction. They were concerned for his safety, right? Government regulations, all that bits and pieces. He's pretty sure he wanted to buy this stuff from this website. And then they said, nope, and, not going to allow you to do that. And no, you can't do that. And from now on, you can't send crypto anywhere. You can get crypto in, but you can't send crypto anywhere. So it can come in here and we'll cash it to Australia and you can deposit in your bank, no problems at all. But you're not allowed to send it to anywhere else. Even though he told them that's what he wanted to do. It was his choice. And if he lost the money, he lost the money. That was said, but they still would not allow the transaction to go through. Well, in the long run, it turned out to be actually a good move by CoinSpot because it was a scam website and he would have lost his money. So in that respect, one up for CoinSpot. However, one down for CoinSpot. This is an ups and downs, a Star Trek ups and downs. So up and a down. So one up, good. They saved his money because they were vigilant and they did the right thing. Down, you should have had the choice to still send it. So, but either or, it just goes to show you. So, no nannies. Yeah, that's right, Mr. Nannies. But that's what happens. Okay, so understand that these websites like CoinJar and CoinSpot, they are regulated. They have to abide by what goes in the trust or the antitrust laws or whatever it is that's being used here in this country. So I should probably remove that comment. I'm not looking at. Talk about QSI next week. Oh, you don't want to get me started on that. But we can have a discussion about that, King Duck. If you want to raise it again with me next week, we shall do that. And we'll see what Mark has to say about it as well. But effectively, be careful what you buy. Look at what you do. But those websites, they're great for buying stuff. God, look at my dirty fingers, guys. Looks like I've been working. Wow. But anyway, now that just threw me for a 6. That's old man brains for you. Be careful about what you're buying. If you're going to buy from somewhere, a website like cryptocurrency, crypto CoinSpot or whatever, I do advise you to bring that down to a wallet that you own, not an on-chain wallet like theirs. I mean, for small amount of stuff that you can have in there, great, no problems at all. But if you're buying something substantial, have a Ledger wallet or have a cold wallet or have, Exodus or Atomic or one of those other wallets that you can transfer the money to you. Then it's in your bank account, right? It's in your bank, not CoinSpot's bank, not CoinJar's bank. It's in your bank. Then if you choose to send it somewhere and you lose it, it's your fault. So just saying, right? But always do that, right? So it's cold storage. All right. Who's not open software? Mr. Bill, which one are you talking about? Hang on. Still takes me 24 hours to put money into CoinSpot from the Commonwealth Bank. Well, that's a Commonwealth Bank thing. I literally can transfer money from my NABA bank into the CoinSpot and it'll be there 2 minutes later. And I do that by using the Pay ID option. So it works on OSCO, bang, gone, just to let you know. So Pay ID is great for that. Sorry, I got caught up again. Not a ledger. They are not open source. SwiftX has gone back to instant bank transfers. No more 24 hours from King Duck. The yellow and black bank is useless and slow from Pete. Okay. You mean the bank that used to belong to us, the Australian people? Note the word used to. Anyway, sorry, don't get me started on stuff that's not crypto related. Guys, have a great night. Thank you for coming and listening to me ramble on. All I can say is be out there, be strong, invest wisely, and above all else, keep the faith. Okay? Keep the faith, because without faith in God, without faith in our own judgment, we're all going to falter somewhere. So, above all things, keep the faith. Cheers. And remember, guys, Donkey Sanctuary, win some money. $750, gram of gold. Yeah, you could be this person.
Hello, Voice of Freedom family. Phil Cooker here, winner of the Voice of Freedom Lottery. I tell you what, everyone, this blessing couldn't have come at a better time. I'm going to use this blessing to help out a bill situation, but I'm also going to treat myself a little bit with a little something from Ainsley Bullion. I just want to say thank you and God bless the Voice of Freedom. God bless the Good Samaritan Donkey Sanctuary for all the good work they do, and just say a huge thank you to Carl, to Vince, and to Sandy. God bless you all, and thank you for this blessing of this lot.